Imagine you are an admiral. You're commanding the most powerful warship ever constructed, the USS Nimitz, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, a floating city of steel, jet fuel, and controlled destruction. You're standing on the flight deck, 20 meters above the Aegean Sea, looking out at the horizon. The wind is warm, the water is blue-green and ancient, the sky is clear in every direction, and what you see makes your blood run cold. The Persian fleet is coming. Over 1,200 warships, triremes, wooden galleys powered by 170 oarsmen each, the largest naval force ever assembled in the ancient world. Xerxes, king of kings, lord of the Persian Empire, has mobilized every ship from every conquered nation. Phoenicians, Egyptians, Ionians, Cypriots, Greeks who surrendered and now fight under Persian banners. A fleet so massive it turns the sea dark with hulls and oars. From your position on the flight deck, you can see the entire formation. It stretches from one end of the horizon to the other. You have never seen anything like it. Nobody alive has ever seen anything like it. They are sailing toward the Straits of Salamis, toward a battle that was supposed to decide the fate of Greece, toward a moment that history recorded as one of the greatest naval engagements ever fought. In the original timeline, the Greek fleet of 371 triremes would meet this armada in the narrow straits. Themistocles would outmaneuver the Persians. The Persian fleet would be destroyed by superior tactics in confined waters. But you are not in the original timeline anymore, and the Persians are not going to reach the straits. Except history is about to be rewritten. Not by tactics, not by courage, not by the genius of Themistocles or the discipline of Greek oarsmen, by a single ship that should not exist for another 2,500 years. The USS Nimitz. 332 meters long, 78 meters wide, a flight deck that covers 4.5 acres of steel, 100,000 tons of displacement, nuclear-powered, 2 Westinghouse A4W nuclear reactors capable of generating 260,000 shaft horsepower, capable of operating for 20 years without refueling, maximum speed of 30 knots, 56 kilometers per hour through any sea state, in any weather, against any wind. A crew of 5,000 men and women, pilots, engineers, weapons specialists, electronic warfare officers, intelligence analysts, medical staff. The Nimitz is not just a warship, it is a self-contained military base that happens to float. It carries its own hospital, its own fire department, its own postal service, its own television station, its own nuclear power plant. 90 aircraft, FA-18 Hornets, FA-18 Super Hornets, E-2C Hawkeyes for airborne early warning and command, EA-6B Prowlers for electronic warfare, SH-60 Seahawk helicopters for anti-submarine warfare and search and rescue. Each FA-18 Hornet carries 8 air-to-ground missiles and 2 air-to-air missiles, range of 720 kilometers without refueling, speed of 1,900 kilometers per hour, Mach 1.8, maximum altitude of 15,000 meters. The Nimitz carries RIM-7C Sparrow surface-to-air missiles for close-range defense, 3 Phalanx CIWS close-in weapon systems, each capable of firing 4,500 rounds of 20mm tungsten at incoming threats, Mark 46 lightweight torpedoes, AN-SPS-48 air search radar, AN-SPS-49 long-range air surveillance radar, radar systems that can simultaneously track 200 separate targets in the air and on the water. It can detect a wooden trireme at 400 kilometers. The Persian fleet is currently 380 kilometers away and closing. You have been tracking them for 6 hours. The Persians will never see you first. Your executive officer steps beside you on the bridge. He looks out at the horizon where the distant smudge of 1,200 ships is barely visible to the naked eye. On your radar screens below, the contact looks like a solid wall of returns. Individual ships impossible to separate. The Persian fleet is so dense that your radar paints it as a single enormous mass moving slowly toward your position. Orders, Admiral? You look at the radar screen. You look at the horizon. You think about what is happening on those ships right now. 150,000 Persian sailors and soldiers, oarsmen pulling in synchronized rhythm, officers walking the decks, soldiers cleaning weapons, cooks preparing food. Men who woke up this morning believing they were part of the greatest military force ever assembled. men who have never lost a war, men who serve a king who calls himself the King of Kings, the ruler of everything from India to Egypt, the master of the known world. Men who have no idea what is about to happen to them. Battle stations, you say. The klaxon sounds across the ship. 5,000 people move with practiced efficiency. Pilots run to their aircraft. Weapons crews begin arming missiles. Fire control systems come online. The Combat Information Center below the flight deck fills with officers tracking targets, calculating firing solutions, coordinating the most sophisticated military response in human history against an enemy armed with bronze and wood. The Persian fleet spots you at 15 kilometers. You watch through binoculars as the formation changes, ships slowing, formations breaking slightly as officers try to understand what they are seeing. A mountain of metal sitting on the water, not moving like a ship moves, moving with mechanical precision, perfectly straight, no variation in speed or course. No oars, no sails, a gray steel cliff rising 20 meters above the waterline, stretching further than any ship has any right to stretch. Persian admirals are sending fast dispatch boats to Xerxes on his throne above the bay. He has positioned himself on a hillside overlooking the straits so he can watch his fleet destroy the Greeks. He has brought scribes to record the victory. He has brought courtiers to witness his triumph. He is sitting on a golden throne watching the greatest armada ever assembled sail toward battle. And now his admirals are sending him confused messages about a metal island that appeared from nowhere. A godship, the dispatch riders tell him, a moving mountain, something that belongs to the gods and not to men. Xerxes orders the fleet to advance. He is the King of Kings. He does not retreat from metal islands. He does not retreat from anything. His fleet has conquered the Aegean. His soldiers burned Athens 3 weeks ago. He does not retreat. 1,200 ships increase their rowing speed and move toward you. You lower the binoculars. You turn to your weapons officer. Launch 2 harpoons. Target the largest concentration of ships in the center formation. Aye, Admiral. 2 RGM-84 Harpoon anti-ship missiles leave the deck. The launch is almost silent compared to what follows. The rockets ignite. The missiles accelerate. They drop to 10 meters above the surface of the Aegean and level off, flying at 860 kilometers per hour, skimming the wave tops, invisible from the Persian fleet at that altitude. The Persian ships are 3 minutes away from impact. On the Persian fleet, nobody sees anything coming. The sea is calm. The sky is clear. The enemy metal island is sitting on the water in the distance. Persian archers are already preparing. Soldiers are checking their weapons. Oarsmen are pulling hard. The first harpoon strikes the center of the Persian formation. The warhead detonates. 221 kilograms of high explosive releases its energy in a fraction of a second. The explosion is not like anything the ancient world has ever produced. It is not like a catapult strike. It is not like fire. It is a concussive wave that turns 3 Persian triremes into splinters and throws burning wreckage 50 meters in every direction. The ships that were alongside the impact point are capsized by the blast wave. Oarsmen are thrown from their benches. Officers are thrown overboard. The sea in a 40-meter radius becomes a chaos of burning wood, bodies, and wreckage. The second harpoon hits a cluster of Phoenician triremes on the right flank of the Persian formation. 3 ships destroyed instantly. The Phoenician sailors were considered the finest in the Persian fleet, masters of the sea, veterans of 100 engagements. They are gone before they hear the explosion. The Persian fleet stops rowing. For a moment, nothing moves. 1,200 ships sitting on the Aegean in silence, every man on every deck staring at the columns of black smoke rising from where 7 ships used to be. The smoke is not like wood-fire smoke. It is thick and black and chemical, the smoke of burning fuel and metal and composite materials that will not exist for 25 centuries. Then the panic starts. Ships begin turning, not in formation, individually, each captain making his own decision to escape. Oarsmen who had been rowing in disciplined synchronization for weeks suddenly losing the rhythm, blades catching water at wrong angles, ships lurching and slowing. Ships on the outside of the formation trying to turn and colliding with ships trying to turn from the inside.
The massive Persian fleet, the most disciplined naval force ever assembled, is becoming a chaos of colliding wooden ships within 4 minutes of 2 missile impacts. Xerxes on his hillside throne is watching his fleet disintegrate. His scribes have stopped writing, his courtiers are silent, his generals are speaking in urgent whispers. Nobody can explain what they just witnessed. There was no enemy ship that fired, there was no catapult that launched. Something came from the metal island and destroyed 7 ships in 2 explosions, and now his entire fleet is in chaos. He sends for his admirals. His admirals are dead. The first harpoon killed the Persian Grand Admiral directly. His last flag was the largest concentration of mass in the center formation. The targeting system selected it automatically. The Grand Admiral, who had commanded the Persian fleet for 6 years, who had planned the invasion of Greece in coordination with Xerxes himself, who was responsible for the logistics of moving 1,200 ships and 150,000 men across the Aegean, was killed before he understood that anything had been fired at him. You watch the chaos through the ship's optics. Your combat information center is tracking every contact. The AI on your fire control system has already calculated firing solutions for the next 12 targets. You have 40 Harpoon missiles. You have not yet used the aircraft. Launch the alert fighters, full strike package, Maverick loadout. The order goes to the flight deck. The catapult crews have been waiting. The first FA-18 Hornet is positioned on the catapult. The pilot runs the final checks. Throttle to full military power. Afterburner ignites. The catapult fires. The FA-18 goes from 0 to 270 kilometers per hour in 2 seconds. It clears the bow of the Nimitz and climbs. The sound is enormous, a roar that carries across the water for kilometers in every direction. Every Persian sailor on every ship hears it. They look up. They see nothing. The aircraft is climbing too fast, already above the angle of vision from men looking from sea level. 12 FA-18s launch in sequence. The flight deck is orchestrated violence. Each aircraft armed with 6 AGM-65 Maverick air-to-ground missiles. Each Maverick carries a 136-kilogram warhead and uses electro-optical or infrared guidance to lock onto heat sources and hard targets. Each pilot has been assigned a target sector. The Combat Information Center has divided the Persian fleet into 12 zones and assigned 1 zone to each aircraft. The FA-18s climb to 8,000 meters. They are invisible. The sky is clear and blue, and the aircraft are too high and too fast for any human eye looking up from a wooden ship to find them. The only evidence of their existence is sound, a distant mechanical roar that the Persians have no category to understand. Some of the soldiers on the ships are praying. Some are covering their ears. Some are looking at each other with expressions that say the same thing in every language. What is that? The FA-18s roll into their attack runs. The first pilot selects his first target. The Maverick Seekerhead acquires the heat signature of 170 oarsmen working at maximum effort in an enclosed lower deck. The missile locks. He fires. The missile drops from the aircraft, ignites and accelerates toward the target. He is already selecting his second target before the first missile arrives. The Maverick strikes the trireme midships. The warhead detonates inside the hull. The ship does not sink, it disintegrates. The oar deck, the main deck, the mast, the officers, the soldiers, the rowers, everything that was a functioning warship 30 seconds ago becomes burning wreckage in a fraction of a second. The ships that were alongside the impact point are damaged by the blast wave. Oarsmen on neighboring ships are thrown from their positions. Officers are knocked overboard. 12 aircraft, 6 missiles each, 72 missiles in the first wave. In 22 minutes, 200 Persian ships are destroyed or sinking. The Persian fleet is not a fleet anymore. It is a debris field, a burning, screaming chaos of wooden wreckage covering 15 square kilometers of the Aegean Sea. Ships that are still intact are trying to escape in every direction. Some are rowing back toward the Persian-held coast. Some are trying to reach shallow water. Some have stopped moving entirely, their crews paralyzed by what they are witnessing. Xerxes has left his throne.
His generals found him standing at the edge of the hill, looking down at the bay, not speaking. His scribes and courtiers had moved away from him. Nobody wanted to stand next to the King of Kings while he watched his invincible fleet burn. He built this fleet over 10 years. He conscripted ships and sailors from every corner of his empire. He crossed the Hellespont on a bridge of boats. He burned Athens. He was supposed to conquer all of Greece this summer and return to Persepolis in triumph. He is watching it burn in a single afternoon. The Persian Navy makes one final attempt. It is the only thing left to try: fire ships. Ancient naval technology that has been used in the Mediterranean for centuries. Vessels stripped of their crews, stuffed with oil-soaked wood and cloth and brush, set alight and aimed at enemy formations. Fire ships have destroyed fleets before. They require no crew. They cannot be boarded or captured. They burn and they drift and they set other ships alight. Persian soldiers on the surviving ships prepare 20 fire ships. They pour oil over the decks. They pack the holds with burning material. They aim them at the Nimitz and release them. 20 burning ships drifting across the Aegean toward the aircraft carrier. The Phalanx CIWS system detects the thermal signatures automatically. It does not require a human decision. The system is designed to engage incoming threats without crew input when operating in automatic mode. It calculates the closing speed, the trajectory, the intercept point. It begins firing. 4,500 rounds per minute, 20mm tungsten penetrators. The closest fire ship is at 800 meters when the Phalanx engages it. The rounds tear through the burning hull in a continuous stream. The fire ship breaks apart. The next one is at 750 meters. The Phalanx traverses and fires. Then the next, then the next. The system works through all 20 fire ships in under 4 minutes. None of them reaches 400 meters from the hull of the Nimitz. Persian soldiers watch from their ships as their fire ships are destroyed by invisible force. There is nothing to see. The Phalanx barrel is not visible at that range. The rounds travel faster than sound. The fire ships simply come apart in mid-water for no reason that any Persian sailor can understand. There is nothing left to try. There is no weapon in the Persian arsenal that can cross 400 meters of water and reach the Nimitz. There is no tactic in any Persian military manual that applies to this situation. Their admirals are dead. Their fleet is destroyed. Their fire ships are gone. The aircraft that cannot be seen are still circling above, still destroying any ship that tries to regroup or escape in formation. By nightfall, it is over. 800 Persian ships sunk or destroyed. The remaining 400 have scattered. Some have beached themselves on the coast. Some have surrendered to Greek ships that ventured out from Salamis to investigate the burning sea. Most have simply fled, individual ships rowing hard for any shore that isn't on fire. 150,000 Persian sailors and soldiers, dead, drowning, captured, fled. The greatest naval force ever assembled in the ancient world, gathered over a decade, sailed from Persia to conquer Greece, is gone in 8 hours. The Aegean Sea from Salamis to the horizon is covered with wreckage, broken oars, shattered hulls, Persian equipment, bodies. The smell of burning wood and fuel carries on the wind for 30 kilometers. Greek sailors emerging from the straits in their triremes cannot understand what they are seeing. They expected to fight today. They were prepared to die today. Themistocles had given them their battle plan. They knew the odds: 371 Greek triremes against 1,200 Persian ships. Instead, they are sailing through wreckage. Xerxes does not stay to watch the end. He leaves his hillside throne in the late afternoon while the battle is still technically ongoing and begins the march back toward the Hellespont. His generals follow, his courtiers follow. The scribes who were supposed to record his triumph carry empty scrolls. The invasion of Greece is over. Not because of Greek strategy, not because of Themistocles, not because of Spartan soldiers or Athenian sailors, or the geography of the straits. Because of a ship that carries nuclear reactors and 90 aircraft and radar that can see 400 kilometers and missiles that fly at the speed of sound. You stand on the flight deck as the sun sets over the Aegean. The sea is orange and red, partly from the sunset and partly from fires that are still burning on the wreckage. Your pilots are back aboard. Your weapons crews are reloading. Your crew of 5,000 is standing down from battle stations. Your executive officer stands beside you again. Casualties, you ask.
None, he says. We never took an incoming round. The closest Persian ship got to within 6 kilometers before it was destroyed. You nod. You look at the burning sea. You think about 150,000 men who woke up this morning. You think about Xerxes on his golden throne watching everything he built disappear in an afternoon. You think about the Greek sailors in the straits who are sailing through wreckage trying to understand what happened. They will tell this story for 1,000 years. They will write it down. They will build temples to explain it. They will call it the hand of the gods. They will say that Poseidon himself rose from the sea and destroyed the Persian fleet. They will create myths and legends and religious traditions to account for what they witnessed today and could not explain. They will call you a god. One ship, one crew, one mission. Against the greatest naval force ever assembled in the ancient world, against an empire that stretched from India to Egypt, against a king who called himself the ruler of everything. The Persians never stood a chance.